Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at Ohio in mode Shuffle. This might be the best ship possible for this game mode. While Schlieffen has the better secondaries, it's nowhere near as tanky as an Ohio is. This ship pushing in is very difficult to kill and has much better main guns. Don't let that salvo fool you. We do have some very strong guns here. Unfortunately, just got a little bit trolled there on the Henry. Secondaries are still incredibly strong on this ship, and these fast cooldown heals allow me to survive situations where almost any other battleship would probably be dead. We're doing a convoy match here, and that is a little bit challenging when you're trying to defend the convoy, as they move rather quickly, and it's quite easy to take out the convoy ships when you're attacking. So I am going to be pushing very aggressively. I get a little greedy for a broadside shot in on the Prince Eugen, doesn't pan out, and the Yamato at 17 kilometers does punish us pretty hard for it. So time to angle. Let's not get too greedy. I'm also just focusing my secondaries on the Henry, since that's a very dangerous long-range HE threat that I don't want to let get away. Now we'll take a look at the Prince Eugen, as the Henry is out of our range. But just pushing in, that's what you have to do with Convoy. I've got a great example of a Convoy defense match where I just lose flat out and still was fully charging in. And I think that's okay. It makes it challenging, of course, since the game is really not designed around pushing. People aren't used to it. But I don't mind Convoy in this as much as I think most people aren't as much of a fan of it. I still prefer Airship Escort, though, don't get me wrong. We're pushing in here very alone. I guess the Pommern is pushing in on the 5-6 lines. That's helping take some of the pressure off of us. But we need to get into cover soon. Otherwise, once that Pommern there is dead, we are going to take all the focus fire. So I'm going to try and get behind this island. You're also going to notice me. I think I'm going to use my damage control pretty early here on a single fire. But with this build, we actually are running extra duration on our damage control, so we have 30 seconds of immunity here. My intention really is to get behind this island before that immunity period times out. It's a small thing, but it can help you stay alive in these close range situations where, let's be honest, you can die rather quickly anytime you're at these closer ranges. So dealing with fires, dealing with damage modules and anything like that, that extra immunity period is very, very nice to have. Hoping to finish off the Henry there. I think he's going to ground, and then we get behind this island just as that immunity period runs out. We take out the Henry, and now we're going to wait just a little bit. As always, whenever I'm brawling, I do want to be isolating 1v1 fights. I don't want to just push open water. That's where the one map for Airship Escort, where they go in a spiral, and you're just in the open, is such a bad map, is you're just forced to push in such open water conditions. A map like this does allow for some map control here, some island play, and Napoli pushing up with us. See, it's not just our teammates sitting at the back. We do got some people playing the game. Feels good, so we'll give him a compliment. And he's just going to charge around this corner, so I'm like, okay, I got to go with you. Can't let someone out push me, right? Also, he's helping us with this smoke screen. So hopefully we can get some decent damage in here on the Freddy. And we get a double fire. That's one of the things where Ohio secondaries are so insane. Their fire chance is extremely high. I think you can get up to a 10% fire chance if you build for the fires. So with the number of secondary hits you're going to get, that's a lot of fire damage. Sure, you're not going to be full penning nearly as much as the Schlieffen, but they should do some decent damage at range since the superstructure can easily be full bend. Into destroyers, of course, you have that nice accuracy as well. And then we're just going to try and hit superstructure on the Freddy. But he goes down already. So let's deal with the Wisconsin. As we know, Wisconsins don't have a citadel at close range, unfortunately. Another fire right away. It's possible I was getting very lucky with the fire RNG in this game, but our damage is stacking rather quickly. And we're pushing just quickly enough. You'll notice that we have already lost one set of our convoy ships, and at least on the 9-10 line, those convoy ships are almost as far into the enemy spawn as we are at this point. So you do have to push very, very aggressively here. We should be able to turn away here, unless Wisconsin has his combat instructions. It's really important here to not push so we're broadside onto the Wisconsin, the Pommern, and the Yamato. So that's where I want to turn and angle a little bit towards the Yamato and the Pommern while showing the stern towards the Wisconsin. That's the idea here. But I think this Wisconsin's going to go down before he actually gets any more shots into us. And we just happen to take out the enemy Pommern. Just random secondaries, a little both sides action there. Feels pretty good. And last up is going to be this Yamato. And we're going to win a convoy game, which is a little bit difficult. I should talk about that a little bit. We'll deal with that a little bit after this game. Nice citadel there into the Yamato. We did manage to get one, but he goes behind the island. So my teammates should be able to take him out for us. That's a good win. 210,000 damage. Ohio's just nuts. Of course, you got the Montana hull, which means you're incredibly difficult to deal damage to. Small superstructure and those fast cooldown heals, man. That 40-second heal cooldown is so clutch in these situations. Although, to be fair, with Schlieffen and some of the Russian battleships, you do get the fast cooldown damage control, which we do like. Also, by the way, did you see that secondary fire damage? Just a little bit ridiculous. Okay, here's a match where we're going to lose. I'll spoil it for you guys. But I was almost W-keying the entire game here. The only time I stop is, well, against my will here, where the island pokes out a little further than I thought. And once I get to the next island, and I'm almost dead. But look at how the Liberty ships here are pretty close to us already. They're, what, 6 kilometers away from me? And as soon as they're spotted, of course, the enemy team is going to try and take them out. That's the target. That's the whole objective of this game mode. It makes sense. So, in Ohio fully pushing, for the most part, since spawn, you have to push fully in. There is no waiting. There is no, I'll take it slow and we'll take my time. And I like that. It's hard to play. It makes it difficult. But as someone who really misses the close range engagements here, like, look, we're just barely starting this game and we're already within 10 kilometers of many enemy ships. I think that's so much more fun. Even if I do end up losing this one, it's more interesting to me than the long-range sniping games. So as people play this game mode more, I think they'll get more used to that, I hope. It is, I mean, it's not too hard to just push your W key, but doing it without dying, that is the hard part. And here, yeah, we're going to take 2 gearing torpedoes. I knew they were on their way, but I had to get behind this island. I had to try to get to this island. Sitting open water, always a bad idea. There's that trying to isolate 1v1s I talked about earlier. Ohio gets a nasty hit into our bow there to hit the front of our citadel, but it looks like he's going to go broadside, so maybe we'll get an equally powerful shot and barely survive here. And hopefully we don't get shot at too much after that. Very nice to take the Ohio out, but we're on such low HP here. And I'm stuck, right? Those Liberty ships, they just keep pushing. They're within 6 kilometers of me now, and I think the enemy team is going to start taking them out very, very soon. So it's difficult. I'm not as big a fan of Convoy as the Airship Escort, of course, but I still think it's an interesting enough game mode, and it does force you to play differently. And I think that maybe is the best part about this mode shuffle experience, is it's forcing you to play in a different way, unless you just want to lose the game outright. And I have had matches like that, I won't lie. I've been a little bit frustrated playing this game mode too. It's not all positive, just enjoyable matches for me. There's some frustrations there where I push in and try and play, and then the enemy team decides to play it like random battles, and then I die because I tried to push. But then the enemy team just outright loses in a blowout because they're not playing the objective. And this is an example of trying to defend the Liberty ships and not quite getting there. So, very difficult. You see how quickly they get taken out, man. It's hard with Convoy, for sure. Maybe delaying the routes a little bit, changing up the maps is cool. But still, I'm just having a blast with this game mode for the most part. And I can't wait for Wargaming to announce that they're going to keep this mode in, right? We're at that point of the video. Got to call it out, Wargaming. Please, keep it. Keep it, please. I just have so much fun in this game mode. And it's a nice break from random battles. Less pressure to deal with stats. I mean, I think a lot of you thought about that as well in the comments below where I talked about that in the previous video. Stats are something people care about. So having a game mode where people don't have to worry about that as much and just full send it in without having to deal with the stat implications is nice to see. And that the objectives do move through the map. Airship Escort here, of course, gonna be my favorite, just because you do have to push, And there's no, oh, I took out your airship and then we win because of that. That is not how this game mode works, and that's why I think it is better than Convoy overall. You're incentivized to push, and you're not punished for not quite pushing as quickly. You are punished a little bit by the enemy team getting their airship to the end goal faster, but it's not like an outright loss the instant you aren't ahead of your convoy, for example. Secondaries on the Wisconsin here, trying to get some superstructure hits in with them, get some fires, that kind of thing. And then our main guns are just for these cruisers here. The overmatch, something I haven't talked about yet, but Ohio 457 overmatch, very, very powerful at this tier. And for the most part, Ohio's very accurate, so we're going to get a nice double citadel there in. Very consistent damage out of this ship. And hopefully we'll get some damage in on this Mogami before he torps us. I'm very worried about torpedoes, and that is the downside here of playing an Ohio over a Preußen, a GK, or a Schlieffen. Yes, we are tankier. We got better armor than all those ships, in my opinion, even GK and Preußen. I think the superstructure is such a massive weakness there on those two ships. But we don't have a Hydro, so getting cross-torped, yeah, we're going to take some pain here. But we do manage to live it, and we're going to keep pushing. I do have to go around this corner, otherwise I'm just worried about taking even more torps from the destroyer on the 4 line. So I'll push, and maybe this smoke can hide me. Not sure, but at least with the Ohio here on half HP, our heals come back soon enough that I should be able to live a little bit longer. Broadside Wisconsin. Why do Wisconsins go broadside, guys? Why do we see so many of them just sailing broadside without a care in the world? Maybe it's because they're designed to be okay with that, right? Feels bad. Although I did manage to get some citadels from a Wisconsin into another Wisconsin there in the other video at 12 kilometers or so. So maybe it's a little more vulnerable than I originally thought, but I still wish it had even a waterline citadel. I'd prefer to go back to the old days where everything had above waterline citadels and you didn't overpen them nearly as much. Like, I would love that personally. But I don't think that's the direction we're going to go in. It's been, what, like 8 years of lowering citadels, making them harder to hit, making them overpenable. You know, that's a direction that we're not likely to steer away from anytime soon. Here's an example, like I talked about in the Wisconsin video, dealing with Schlieffen secondaries, but it's equally relevant here with Preußen. Look at how his secondaries are just getting full pen hits all the time here. It's because we're showing him 32 mil bow armor or our superstructure, and he's just going to full pen all of those. So I do want to angle slightly to it, not this much, you know, we're very broadside to take citadels. Fortunately, our teammates clutch up and manage to finish him off with torpedoes. Thank you very much, Mr. Gierig. But that is an example of the amount of damage you can eat at close ranges from those German secondaries. You want to show some armor that is not going to get full penned by those secondaries at close range. It's a little bit awkward because you do have to show more broadside, but those secondaries would just absolutely chew you up if you stay bow into them. Just a little optimization, but that's what adds up and allows us to live on 2,000 HP here. Just barely, and we do manage to get to that next heal. Very nice. Holland coming around the corner. Nice thing about Ohio, with an accuracy build, that's what I am running. Not going to go full secondaries on a ship like this. Well, our guns can hit 7 of 8 for like 11,000 damage into a destroyer. Not quite finishing him off, but enough that he dies quickly enough that I don't have to worry about his torpedoes. At least I hope not. And I actually did not have to. So really, really nice there with Ohio accuracy. And that extra heal cooldown just always helping me stay alive. And that's actually going to be what our last game is about. How fast can you get the Ohio cooldown when there's carriers in the game, or at least planes? There's a 2-point skill for commanders that allows you, while your AA is active, to reduce your consumable cooldowns by 40%. And I'm going to abuse that a little bit in the next game. But for now, let's just enjoy a Wisconsin broadside here. Taking no damage, just having a nice stroll through the map, not worried about anything. I mean, we're still getting some damage, I guess, but surely not. Surely we want to design the game a little differently than that, guys. It's a good ship, man. It's such a strong ship. It doesn't need that, I don't think, at least in my opinion. It doesn't need that level of freedom to just go broadside and not take any damage. The ship is so powerful already. It could easily have a citadel. given its power level, maybe even giving it the old Iowa Citadel would have been reasonable. I don't know. Vulnerable broadsides. That's what I want to see. But a decent game here in the Ohio. Managing to stay alive, I was pretty happy with that. And again, some decent damage out of those secondaries. Now, in this game, our guns are going to let us down. But that is not what we're worried about. In the moment, a little frustrating for me. But this Guden with leg mod is going to be very annoying to fight against. At least for trying to stay alive and win the game. But to show off how tanky Ohio can be with this this cooldown, it's pretty nice. 45-second cooldown on the damage control, at least while the AA is active. And then our heals come back in like 25 seconds or something like that, maybe even a little quicker with a little bit of potential damage. Absolutely ridiculous. The main thing that's going to kill me here is actually the guys on the other side of the map. I'm very broadside to, well, a Wisconsin and a Slava, so that's what's going to end up killing me here. But notice the instant our AA starts shooting, our heal cooldown went from like 20 seconds out to 10 seconds out. It's pretty nice, man, when there's planes around you. It doesn't make up for the fact that planes are just miserable to fight against and do a lot of damage, and there's really not much you can do about them. Overall, the gameplay there is not very fun. But this skill does let you heal through it a little bit easier if wargaming would make plane damage 100% healable, specifically when it comes to torpedoes and that. Some of the HE damage can be healable. There we go. There's the Slava into our broadside that was coming. But, you know, that's something maybe wargaming could consider. I know they're thinking about a rework right now that, you know, still... How long has it been? We're coming up on... We're over 6 months since they announced it. We'll be at a year soon in fall. I'd love to see what it's about, but maybe if they just made all the carrier damage 100% healable, that would be a little more reasonable, at least for ships that have a heal. Some ships don't, so then it would be permanent. Broadside Guden, been annoying me all game, and I only get one Citadel. A little unfortunate there, but that's maybe another ship that could use a little bit of a look at, a balancing change, at least when it comes to the airstrikes. I think the legendary upgrade was a pretty big misstep, actually. It's just a straight upgrade for that ship, and it makes the ship not only massively more powerful in its gimmick, it also makes it way less enjoyable to fight against, and I think that's a pretty big problem. Wargaming's already shown that they're willing to nerf these legendary upgrades. Something like Yamato had its legendary mod nerf. The accuracy used to be so much better, and now it's just okay. So I'd love to see a Guden nerf on its airstrikes at some point. Wargaming, please look at that, because it's not fun to fight against. But you know me, I'm a little biased against airplanes dealing tons of damage to me. But we managed to live for quite a long time there. You know, 3.4 million potential damage, and you can see how getting those consumables back allows you to live for such a long time, especially since Ohio has such an amazing hull already. And for this game mode, I've also gone with a very, very greedy build, which I know isn't possible for everyone, just because it's very expensive to respec your commander. But if you can, this is not good in randoms at all. But this is a pretty nuts build. You can potentially get 6 heals because of this improved repair party readiness, as well as emergency repair expert. You get back to them quicker with this, you get back to them quicker with this, you get back to them quicker with this, and then it's just secondaries and adrenaline rush. That's kind of the idea here. Oh, and then trying to keep our main guns and our secondaries alive. That's basically it. It's just, yeah, sure, you're going to hit me, but I'm going to heal through it very quickly. That's the idea of this build, and it worked okay. Ohio still having a main gun build, though, means these guns are incredibly powerful for the most part. They did let me down here and there, but for the most part, you're going to get some really good results here. 11% dispersion is very good. I have steering gears right now, but honestly, I've been flipping between all 3 of these, just trying to feel which one I like best. Damage Control System Mod 2 is probably the best here, since you're so close that it's not like people are going to be missing you with speed juking or steering gears. So it's probably just best to go with Damage Control. And then, sure, we do miss out on some main gun or secondary survivability, but 40% consumable action time here. Like 31, almost 31 seconds of immunity from fires or anything. That's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. Especially if you're getting back to it sooner, if there's planes around, that kind of thing. Pretty cool. But even starting with a 37-second cooldown time on a 31-second action time here, very quickly, you're going to have half uptime on your heal. So half the time you're not healing, and the other half, well, you're just healing right through all that extra damage you're taking. You know, Very aggressive, very greedy build, but it can work, it can work. The game mode just has to support it, which Mode Shuffle does a reasonably good job of. You know, this armor, very, very powerful here with the Ohio. 38 is, as long as they don't pen 38, the HE is just going to shatter here, very nice. Our superstructure is pretty small, so we're not taking as much. You can take some big hits, but nowhere near the levels of German battleships. But that 32 mil bow, overmatch, and then those German secondaries, anytime they're just hitting here, it's full pen damage, so free. So if you can angle a little bit, so the center of your ship, like here, is generally where they're aiming. So you don't even have to fully go broadside. Just angle in such a way where the center of your ship is where the secondaries go, so that they hit here. Or, you know, some will hit your superstructure still and take damage. But at least if the secondaries at close range that go into your hull hit you here, that's when they're going to shatter. If you're angled like this, they're going to hit here and full pen and just rip you up. Just a small optimization. It's pretty difficult to do that whole brawling thing at closer ranges, but still, it's a very fun game mode. Even Convoy. I'm enjoying Convoy more than Arms Race, just personally, because you do have to push in to play the game mode, and that's what I like. I like it when people are pushing in. I like and enjoy that close range brawling action, even when I die. It's just more fun. It feels like a more engaging experience, more action, and I'm having a blast with it. Ohio, very powerful for this mode. If you have it, give it a whirl. I've been trying some other battleships too, but for the most part, my best games have come in Ohio and Schlieffen, those two. But I have some other ones to try, and honestly, I haven't really done any brawling cruiser builds. That could be interesting to try and make that work. Difficult with all the overmatch, but could be a fun challenge as well. So look forward to that in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.